marks ready to dazzle the audience. Dexter "The Blade" Jackson, the 2008 Mr. Olympia, is in Barbados as a guest poser for tomorrow's Darcy Beckles Classic. Jackson is one of only 2 bodybuilders to win titles in both the Mr. Olympia and Masters Olympia bodybuilding competitions, having won the Masters Olympia back in 2012. Now this year, the Blade has shown good form, placing 5th in Mr. Olympia and winning the Dubai Pro and finishing 2nd in the Prague Pro. The 44-year-old, who clearly is no stranger to the world stage, was a late replacement for 10-time Miss Olympia Iris Kyle, who was originally slated to headline the show. Now, on visiting the CBC studios today, the United States-born athlete said he had a good reason for accepting the invitation to come to Barbados.
Well, what attracted me to want to come here is, my girlfriend, she's from here. Her whole family's from, from Barbados. So I've never been. I've pretty much been around the world, but never been in Barbados. So when Roger contacted me, it was a no-brainer. I had to, actually was booked to go to LA. I canceled that trip just to come here and bring her with me to, because she hadn't been here since she was a kid. And it's nice for both of us to come and experience Barbados together.
Jackson's record speaks for itself: 71 shows and about 62 top 5 finishes, including this year's Mr. Olympia. Jackson revealed how he keeps in shape.
I've trained smart my whole life. Instead of throwing up all that heavy weight, a lot of people think you got to throw up all this heavy weight your whole career and don't use no machines. Well, I'm the prime example. That's absolutely not true. I train with a lot of machine work. I train with the best trainer in our sport, Charles Glass, out in LA, and and eating properly. You got to eat your meals on time, keep your food up. She knows if my stomach let me know if you eat your meals on time, you don't need to watch the clock because the stomach gonna let you know it's time to eat. So every 2.5 to 3 hours is usually when I have my meals. So I eat about 6 or 7 meals a day.
Show time for that Darcy Beckles Classic is 6 p.m. tomorrow at the Lloyd Erskine Sanford Center. And organizer Roger Boyd says, coupled with the presence of Jackson, there is expected to be heated rivalry in the men's physique, bikini fitness, and the invitational bodybuilding class.
Huskin World won it five times, but this year I don't think that he would be able to walk away of it like he did before because Bell is in really good shape. You have Gavin Phillips, who just come from it, placed in 2nd in the super heavies at CAC, winning the Masters. You got Alden Martin, who was 3rd in the super heavies at CAC, and there's Steve Williams from Antigua. He was Antigua national champion maybe for 5 or so years. So I think that in itself, other than that, it would be the main highlight really of the competition.
On to football, they give it a good shot, but Barbados under-17s will not be making it to the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. Playing in the final round of the Caribbean Football Union qualifiers for the World Cup, Barbados under-17s will leave Haiti with a record of no wins, 2 losses, and a draw. That draw came last evening in their final group game against St. Lucia. It finished 1-1, with Amani Leacock being our goal scorer. Staying with football, Princess Margaret used the home court advantage to secure an exciting victory against Courage and Parry in their latest matchup of the Barbados Secondary Schools football competition. A total of 8 goals were scored, including a hat-trick for Princess Margaret's Cale Greenwich. CBC's Damien Best reports.
Courage and Parry in red taking on Princess Margaret. First half business, 8th minute. Princess Margaret on the go. Player brought down in the box. Penalty awarded. Well, Cale Greenwich stepping up and buries it. 1-0. CP would respond 7 minutes later. Corner kick. Goalkeeper Butterfingers, Elric Graham knocks it in. We're tied at 1 apiece. The visitors went 2-1 up in similar fashion. Another corner kick. Bab with the header. Courage and Parry looking good. Well, that was the 24th. This is the 25th minute. Ball poked forward into the path of Greenwich. Beats the oncoming goalkeeper. Top marks for the finish. We're tied at 2 goals apiece. Tons of action in the first half. Was there more to come? Indeed. Player brought down just outside the 18-yard box. And from the free kick, Daniel Wilkinson, calm and collective, threads the needle. Princess Margaret 3, Courage and Parry 2. Second half now, the team switch ends. Princess Margaret really starting to turn the screws. Kemar Brathwaite holding off the defender, side-footed, back of the net, 4-2. Well, let's make that 5. Greenwich benefiting from a loophole in the CP defense. Keeper should have done better. It's too easy. 5-2, and Greenwich with a hat-trick. 74th minute, Courage and Parry would score another goal thanks to Terrell Jemmett, but that was a mere consolation as Princess Margaret came away with the 5-3 victory. Damien Best, CBC Sports.
Former Liverpool and England player John Barnes says more Caribbean footballers need to push or make the push to get into European leagues. Speaking during Legends in Discussion, that was the final session in the inaugural Soccerettes Americas Forum, the Jamaican-born Barnes said he would encourage any elite player to pursue such opportunities as the entire region would benefit.
The more players you can get leaving the Caribbean to go and play abroad, when you improve, you will then come back and help the national team to be stronger. And that is what Jurgen Klinsmann meant when he said about he doesn't want the American players to play in the MLS. Because if you play in the MLS, you will have a level and you will level off without necessarily improving. That's happening in England. Once you've got the young English players not playing for the top teams in the Champions League, the national team suffers. So if you look at what's happening in the Caribbean with the amount of Jamaican players now playing in Europe, lots of Trinidadian players, the national teams are stronger. The problem that the Caribbean teams have is the re-emergence of the Central American countries. It's more difficult for them now, not because the teams are getting any worse. The Jamaican teams are stronger, the Trinidadian teams are stronger, the local teams are stronger, but the re-emergence of those Central American countries makes it harder. So for the national teams to be better, you need to get the Caribbean players to go and play in stronger leagues.
On to motorsport, the Barbados Auto Racing League has welcomed the recent High Court decision that overturned stop notices that were issued for the Vaucluse Raceway by the Town and Country Planning Development Planning Office 14 years ago. Secretary of BARL, Nigel Austin, says they can now get down to some serious business.
We now have an option to do full racing instead of just track days or just coming out and running around. We can get to serious racing now, and it means that the U.S. Caribbean series that was put on hold, we can now proceed with that. There is a senior official coming in from the United States who is here to continue the planning for the new U.S. Caribbean series that should be starting in 2015. It's also going to give our drivers an opportunity to go to the U.S. and race. And the official is actually coming down to look at some of our drivers to see how they will match up against the U.S. competition or North American competition, and open up avenues for guys to go up and race.
And BARL will be having